Hello, folks. I greet you. Welcome one more time to Homo Politicus, which is our flagship show on Enterprise TV. What we do is simple: give context and clarity to any issue that crops up here. Now, today, ahead of Ondo Guba election, candidate calls for resident electoral commissioners removal. Okay, now a former US president, if you remember, Barack Obama, said, "I'm always suspicious of politics dividing people instead of bringing them together." Now, the Ondo State governorship election is slated for November 16, barely 1 week from now. Now, one of the candidates and a former deputy governor, Mr. Ajayi, is crying foul before the contest. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, candidate in the election, that's a former deputy governor, wants the removal of the Ondo Resident Electoral Commissioner, REC, to avoid the 1983 crisis. As far as he is concerned, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Babalola, the REC in question, has been having a series of meetings with the All Progressives Congress, APC government officials. Now, at this point, there's ample suspicion that the polls would be compromised. I admit completely that the freedom to express varying, often opposing ideas is a healthy stimulant essential to a healthy democratic culture. But it becomes destructive and acrimonious when suspicion creeps in. A reference to the ugly episode of the politics of 1983 in Ondo is a natural inclination, I tell you, but political suspicion is shooting beyond limits. The English-born American founding father, Thomas Paine, said, quote, "Moderation in temper is always a virtue, but moderation in principle is always a vice," end quote. That our politicians in a 21st century world are still rustic is a matter for deep regret. So let's go there. My discussant this morning is the one and only Cyril Abaku, broadcaster, communications expert. Cyril, I greet you one more time. Welcome.
Good morning, citizen Joseph. Glad to be here.
Cyril, but politics as a vocation demands that you play by the rules, don't you think?
I do think.
And so if in a 21st century setting, our politicians are still cagey, it makes you become suspicious.
So I think that the periodization of our politics, we are only talking 21st century because that's where the world is. But our politics isn't yet there. Our politics is still very rustic, in fact, it is an anachronism to think of our politics the way it is played, the character that it attracts.
So when we said we were copying the great United States of America, what were we copying?
Let's assume that we copied America in 1999. And this is 2024.
No, democracy,
America, yes.
Democracy is an ongoing process.
Yes, but America is in 2024. We are not there yet. We are arguably where they were.
By choice?
It has to be by choice because in Ondo State now, 2024 as it was in 1983, the same key factor, the same factor that supplied the casus belli for what eventually happened is looking to repeat itself.
But sorry, don't you think that is a call to arms?
Well,
if you understand.
I understand what you mean, but I'd like to think a reaction to arms, not maybe a call, because if back then FedEco in 83 could go ahead to announce Ake Omoboriowo as winner in a largely very impossible setting in which you had a UPN that was popular, that was literally entrenched in the southwest or then western region as the case.
Yeah. The issue pitched to Michaels.
And yes,
Michael Omoboriowo
and Michael
Adekunle Ajayi.
And again that because the tribunal...
but talk about what followed.
The tribunal, I'll get to that. The tribunal reversed the outcome of the election.
I agree.
The Supreme Court also upheld the election, the outcome of
the election of Michael Ajayi
as the rightly elected governor of Ondo State. It was only FEDECO that said that Omobori won. Now, when the crisis burst into the open, you recall that whereas the state-owned radio station was playing its own songs, Radio Nigeria in Akure was playing a different Bob Marley song. It fueled the crisis. People went on the streets and rioted. There was pandemonium. There are disturbances. Because you know what, people understand that election is about life.
As a matter of fact, it reminded people rather sadly about the 1964 wet year.
Oh, then, I mean, this is taking us back all the way again. But from wet year to 1983 and then to 2024, one basic decimal that has not shifted is the compromise of the election management body. To wit, that in this instant case, you have an INEC rec in Ondo State who was born and bred and has lived her life in Akure according to the statement that we got from Ajayi, that the woman has lived, and the fact that being an indigene of Ondo State, she will also become rec in Ondo State. You are creating grounds for, and then he went on to accuse.
Does the law say if you were a citizen of a particular state, you couldn't be a resident electoral commissioner there?
Now, in answer to your question, as I raised my pair of hands, it is to say that I'm not aware what the law says. Okay. But the fact is that this raises a very serious moral question on the sanctity of the process. Because even where our law, isn't that the purpose of leadership? Even where our law didn't envisage that such a thing could happen, leadership should know better. Because if you have two parties to a conflict and you put somebody that is familiar to the terrain in that case, how do you expect the person to be non-partisan? In a court of law, when the lawyer goes and says, my lord, I don't believe that you can give justice, recuse yourself.
Yeah.
If even in a court of law, if even in the place where that election may be taken for redress, a judge will be asked to recuse, how much more the person will... So, we'll
get to the real issue, but let me share this particular scenario with you. At a time in Akwa Ibom State, the rec in that state was from Edo State, and he stood between the incumbent government and malpractices and so on. He was not popular. So the rule does not say that you must not be a resident of the state so that you become non-partisan. I think
I understand your position.
INEC must understand the terrain.
I understand your position because you're in the interviewer seat, but I can tell you for a fact, in politics, appearances matter. Appearances matter. Is she the only qualified person that can do the job? There are people in Sokoto State, there are those even in River State.
But Cyril,
yes,
there are other candidates apart from Ajayi.
Yes, but I mean, if
they are not crying foul.
Yeah, well, I mean, because you and I may not have had their voices, but does it make it right? The fact that you are not
make it right that the man is crying foul.
No, that you appointed an indigene of the state to be rec in such a high stakes election. Who does that?
Okay, let's get on the rail. So it appears the electoral umpire will be the fall guy in every matter having to do with elections in my country, until goodness knows when. No,
in this extant case, it's not just about the woman's state of origin. There's also an argument about the fact that she has been meeting and holding conversations with the governor and his team. You will expect a strong rebuttal to that. Because in a democracy, when we talk about fairness, talk about objectivity, talk about transparency, talk about credibility, which law talks about fairness, for example? Which law talks about fairness? It is by the fact that we are appealing to people's humanity to do what is right. For me, I have no horse in the race. I have no dog in the fight. Whether Ajayi wins or that one wins. The point is, let the best man, as deemed fit by the electorate, win the race back to Alagbaka House, as they call it. But anything other than that, a case in which somebody who is not known to the ballot, now emerges winner, somebody who other than the people wanted becomes governor, then that would have been a coup. And you and I were here discussing Nigerian politics coming into step between 2024. Why should we hold elections like when the 18th century?
All right, but suspicion, we've been told by a great mind, is a form of cowardice. The PDP is not the only party contesting the November 16 election, governorship election.
Yeah, well,
so why must it be him or the PDP? Because it's the chief opposition party there? Or must the PDP win for there to be peace?
No, I don't think that is the case. In my view, I think that if some other party, arguably not so well-known party, speaks, it may not be a matter for discussion here this morning. So it takes one who has a voice to voice a matter for it to become relevant, as it were, or come to the front burner. So even here and now, there is, if the allegations that have been raised are quite frankly grave.
Okay.
They are grave.
I agree.
They are grave, so they should not be swept under the carpet.
I cannot think for you. You are my guest.
Okay.
As you recall that I'm in the interviewer seat.
Yes.
Okay, but let's play by the rules. According to the late Winston Churchill, democracy remains the only acceptable form of government until otherwise stated. So we are practicing a democracy, we are practicing democracy, Cyril, aren't we?
It is difficult to, in theory, yes, I agree. We're practicing democracy.
No, you are going to say it is difficult.
There are elements of it now that make it look like we are just having civilian rule. If
the opposite of civilian rule is what?
I wish I didn't have the answer. If people can't vote,
you wish you didn't have the answer.
Yes. If people can sincerely,
so what's the answer?
If people can't vote, and their votes will count, what then do you have?
Don't be evasive.
No, I'm not being evasive. I'm only saying, if you,
so long as you don't say I'm taking sides.
What is the difference between somebody who comes to power by the gun and the one who goes to steal the ballot and comes to power? What's the difference? The reason leadership doesn't find itself beholden to the people is because they didn't need people to campaign in the first place, so they do whatever it is they like. It is the truth. For me, those grave allegations should not be left. And frankly, if they turn out to be false, okay, then they should punish the person making them. But if they are not false, then there should be redress.
Okay, so if you remove the resident electoral commissioner in Ondo State now, the election goes ahead and Agboala does not win, would there be peace?
I can't speak for him. The election has to speak for itself.
No,
honestly,
no, I'm not begging any issue here. So, but you are saying what I'm saying.
I understand what you mean. Yes, but so that you sack the current rec doesn't mean that Agboala will now have to nominate the person who becomes rec in Ondo. I don't think that's...
No, he goes ahead to lose the election. Would he still cry foul?
I can't say. Every election must speak for itself. We were all when Buhari lost in 2011, and there was the comment about baboon and whatever being soaked in blood.
What did that happen?
Who listened to him?
No. Did it happen?
No, the question of who
No.
Who listened to him?
It didn't happen.
Well,
that is, politicians have a way. They have particular ways of reacting to things like this.
People were killed in the north anyway, but I do know that comment was incendiary. Okay, so we have seen that every election must speak for itself.
But why aren't you troubled? Because I'm scandalized that our politicians have become Machiavellian.
I frankly can't even hold brief from Mr. Ajayi himself. I cannot say that he's a better candidate. I haven't seen their programs, but I cannot say he's a better candidate.
Neither can you say he's a worse candidate.
So anybody who gets the votes should win. But my point is the process must be fair, must be free, fair, transparent, credible, and be seen to be.
Especially if the wreck is removed.
I think that would go a long way. Because what we have today, Citizen Jones, I frankly don't think we should make light of it, because
nobody is. But again, politicians have what we call they become, at a time like this, the politician becomes theatrical, and indulge in heavy.
I know, but no, you see, whether it is mudslinging, whether it is what's the other word now? It's gaslighting. Whatever it is they're doing, you pick every matter on its merit. Now the question is overshadowed by an Ondo State indigene being the wreck, but that's not the only issue. There is the question of the allegation that this woman has been meeting with Ajayi and his team. What?
Neither you.
Why hasn't the police?
Neither you nor I is privy.
Yeah, but why? So but why hasn't the police picked up on this issue to investigate it?
It is what Agboola Ajayi is telling us.
Because what Agboola is saying can push Ondo State to the precipice of a repeat of 1983. So why hasn't the police?
So the phrase "call to arms" comes up.
Yeah, but of course, I mean, like I told you, somebody talked of baboon and dog being soaked in blood, and people died. They are killed in the north. So I mean, some other person said that they're going to make the country ungovernable, and they succeeded in doing that. So, in the case of Ondo State, if the threat has been made, why don't we quickly probe it and check out what is really the issue?
Are we not? Part of our brief is to, apart from molding opinion, is to paint this war in bright colors. The way we practice politics, you must admit, is faulty.
Yes.
Our politics should, in fact, the American election is about a week ago. So we can take a cue from there.
In 2024, our politics is still a baby with diapers.
After 64 years.
Or 24 or 25 years, as the case may be. Still in diapers. A fat baby. An adult baby in diapers.
Who is toddling.
So how then my point is simple. In my place, when the town crier has finished hitting the gong and saying what he wants to say, he will say, let those who had tell those who
have ears, let them hear.
Yes, although let those who have heard this message tell those.
By extension, those who have ears, let them hear.
So
because depending on the message.
Exactly. And now this is a very, like I said, a very grievous message. Millions of voters are going to troop out of their houses. They're going to vote. You see, but I won't be surprised if something, because we've been told, somebody said they're going to repeat the Ondo State model, the Edo model in Ondo State. If you had that. And what was it? You saw that in Edo, it was the nephew or cousin of a sitting minister in the government who had been an advisor to the governor, which means he will clearly have partisan biases. That was appointed to be rec in Edo State. How low can we go? Or even how lower can we go? And then in Edo, in Ondo, we're about to do the same thing. Appointing somebody who is who has been accused of being well entrenched in the states. Maybe like I said, in politics, appearances matter. There are some things you shouldn't do, not because they are not good to do, but because you are avoiding, to give to send the wrong signal. And we do this even in our homes. I heard the story of a father who had too many children and many wives, and when he was about to hand over a property to one of his sons, you know what he did, Citizen Jones? He told the boy to bring a token. When I heard this, I was like, why will the father say the boy should pay for what he wanted to give? He said, so that the other children will not say their father gave it to him at the expense of the love he claims to have for them. I never thought of it that way. But the boy paid the token. So anybody will say, I bought it. None of his siblings could come and say it's our father's property. Even let's
see,
the father was avoiding that sort of.
I quoted Thomas Paine earlier on. Let me repeat it and sound you out. He said, moderation in temper is always a virtue. Okay? Temper, always a virtue. But moderation in principle is a vice. So temper and principle here. Does it cut any ice with you?
It does. It does. Reducing the standard shouldn't be accepted.
No. What about the actor?
I know.
The actor involved.
So I think that, I mean, this is just me sounding
sounding off.
No, let me say it. You're off, yeah. Some politicians would have gathered their guns and said, go and burn that house, go and burn the car, go and protest it. But he hasn't done that.
Yeah, but
he has only spoken.
No. The man making a reference to 1983 couldn't be said to be the best thing to have said in this circumstance.
Why?
Calling for an investigation would have been better.
That's what he did.
No. He only said the woman is an indigene of Ondo State, and so making her the wreck is to him not agreeable.
Yes.
So do something about it.
Okay, good. Isn't that so? Who will do something about it? The authorities, the police.
So is that why he's venting his spleen on the system?
What should he have done, citizen judge? Should he have actually told people to take stones and go and start
call for arms?
Come on.
So no. What is the essence of citing 1983? Because I remember 1983.
I think it's a good thing he has done.
So if 1983 comes, he will thump his chest and say, "I said so."
Well, if that's where you're taking a conversation to, no.
We are looking at many sides to.
The escalators of this conflict should not let 1983 happen. How about them? They are the ones escalate. They shouldn't let 1983 come back. How about them? And you know that 1983 was followed by 1984 by George Orwell. Well, for those who understand the classics, it was, and
1984 was a futuristic thing.
Was an apocalyptic novel.
Yeah.
If we're not careful, and woe to that society that allows history to repeat itself.
Not that we want a utopian state, but we are saying we are all human beings and bound by laws.
Neither do we also want a dystopian state.
Neither. I agree.
So both parties have a role to play. Both the one who has done the wrong and those and the one crying and saying the wrong has been done. Why are you talking to those who have done the wrong?
Because what we are doing today is for our tomorrow. Politicians, they are teenagers and would-be politicians in the mix. So they are watching.
You know the thing. Ajayi of the PDP and Lucky Ajayi of the APC arguably lived through 1983. They may have been young, but they lived through it. They saw what happened firsthand, most likely. So they are aware. They must have relatives, friends, and associates who also suffered losses in the course of 83. And frankly speaking, nobody can claim to be the victor in 83. Everybody became a victim of 83. Ondo State was a victim of 83. In fact, if you investigate properly, by the political history of Ondo State, 83 gave birth to 1996 when Ekiti had to be cut off from Ondo State. And so politicians must do everything to be aware and to be careful and to be cautious. It's a cautionary tale.
I want us to end on that note.
Yes.
Our politicians must stop proving to be Machiavellian.
Yes. Yeah. But again, you see,
if play by the rules.
By the rules. So is it both moral and legal?
One of the rules is not to provoke the removal of a wreck for there to be peace.
And one of the rules must also be not to appoint somebody who is widely suspected to be an ally or an associate
or for that matter, not an indigene.
Exactly. Because
the law does not say so.
Well,
so because
those who
I
are
do not know.
Those who are
there
looking
are 36 states in my country today, and who knows, maybe one or two of them, one of the regs in those 36 are indigenes. Who knows?
Well, those who are insisting and saying that it doesn't matter and that anybody can be anything in Nigeria, I leave it to them. But actions do have consequences.
All right. In trying to take this home, therefore, we are saying that we must not play catch-up. We should play by the rules, behave like 21st century human beings. Or wouldn't you say I said so?
I didn't get that.
We must not just be playing catch-up.
Yeah.
We must behave like the Joneses, as they say.
Look.
Play like 21st century human beings. That's what I...
Technology alone can even help us, can even help us a great deal. In America, how many recs were they using in America? Who was the returning officer? Who was the president, chairman of INEC in America?
I have not asked. Do you know?
Elections within hours. There's the FEC, but the media plays a great role. Once the vote has been cast, everybody, you tally together and then you get a winner. There was no police escort with INEC chairman, and they did.
Although, as a human being, I cannot fail to mention January 6, 2021, when the same Trump disputed the election. I should not drag you into it.
Ajayi and Ajayi are not part of that.
All right, so let's take this home now. My people will say, while you talk to the hawk that steals chicks, talk to the mother hen.
To also protect and hide.
It's a two-way street, yeah.
It has to be. It has to be. Somebody has raised a question, a query, and they are keeping quiet to see whether that query can lead to consequence. It's like saying, come the day. I fear for such a day, so that it doesn't turn into another Ides of March.
All right. In November.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm out of here, but not before thanking Cyril Abaka for his time. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Well, the debate will continue. I don't want to believe that suspicion is a form of acceptance of defeat, or cowardice, if you see what I mean. Should the the resident electoral commissioner in Ondo State be removed for there to be peace ahead of the November 16 Ondo governorship election? The coming days would tell. Thank you very much for your time. I'm out of here. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now.